Assalamu alaikum, sir.
السلام عليكم سر.
Good evening, sir.
All right, everyone who have waited for about 5 minutes. Now we are going to start. So first of all, can you hear me clearly? Please let me know if you can hear me.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Right. Okay, great. So today's lecture 6, by the way, isn't it? Yeah, I think class number 6. So you have to remember the class number sequence. So our today's topic is descriptive essay. All right. So we're going to talk about descriptive essays. I have made a PowerPoint slide. You can see I will upload it on Google Classroom. Right. So let's get started. So this is going to be a simple discussion. All you have to do is just simply participate, meaning just listen to me, and I hope that will do. You know most of the things. So yeah, it's going to just a simple discussion. Right.
So class recording টা on করে দিলে হলো।
Yeah, so let us start the recording first. All right, let's go. So, as I said, today's class is going to be simple. Most of the tips and tricks of writing a descriptive essay that we are going to discuss are already known to you. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion then. So, today we're going to talk about essay writing technique, descriptive essay, and what else? Can anybody give me a reminder? Or does anybody remember?
Process essay.
Exactly, there you go. So if you understand descriptive essay, you should have no problem understanding the process of writing a process essay. All right, so here we go. Okay. Now, when you describe something, you might think, well, what would be the kind of description? Are you going to say positive things about what you're describing, or are you going to say negative things about the person or object that you're describing? Okay, that is something very important. So objective or subjective, these are the two broad categories of description. If you describe something objectively, it is unbiased and unemotional. Why is it known as objective? Because it is unbiased. All right, and your personal opinion doesn't really matter. You give factual information. It deals with fact. For example, if Mr. Alex, if he is a piano teacher, if this is his profession, then you can say Mr. Alex is a piano teacher, and that would be an accurate statement because teaching piano is his profession. All right. But when it comes to subjective description, that's when your opinion matters. Because with subjective description, you give your own opinion. Okay, you show your attitude. For example, if the central emotion is positive, we would say Mr. Alex is a very good piano teacher. If it is negative, you would say he is not a very good piano teacher. If your emotion is, somewhat in between positive or negative, or if you are neutral, in that case, you will say he is neither a great teacher nor a terrible teacher. All right. So whatever your emotion is or your position is, you will express that through your description. So this is where objective and subjective description differ. All right, this is where they differ from each other. Okay, I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Moving on. So descriptive essay structure. This is what a descriptive essay structure will look like. So there will be an introduction, then there will be 3 body paragraphs, and finally there will be a conclusion. And you already know what to do in the introduction, so this is just simply repetition. You introduce the topic, you get the reader's attention, and Again, and the last sentence of your introduction is the thesis statement, right? I hope you remember. So in the thesis statement, you mention the three aspects of description. For example, if you're describing a person, you might talk about, or you might describe that person's habit. Okay, you can start with maybe how that person looks, okay? His appearance, then his habit, and finally his personality. You could pick completely three other different things to describe, all right? But limit it to three. Describe only three aspects, because as you know, structure-wise, you're only allowed to write three body paragraphs. So each of those aspects should be described in the three body paragraph. If you're describing an object, maybe your cell phone or laptop, or a place, maybe your neighborhood, or Cox's Bazar, a tourist spot, whatever the place is, or whatever the object is, pick and choose three most interesting and important aspect of that object or place, and then mention them in the thesis statement, describe them in the three body paragraphs. All right, this is as simple as it gets. Again, just an illustration of our previous discussion. So, introduction, you have to clarify or identify the subject clearly, then decide whether you're going to be objective about your description or you're going to be subjective, meaning whether you're going to say positive or negative things about it. Or are you simply going to describe the factual aspects? Okay, that depends on you. But usually, the kind of topic you get in a descriptive essay, they tend to be more subjective in nature. All right. Okay, again, developing body paragraphs. I'm pretty sure you're already familiar with these aspects. So use clear unity, use coherence, use adequate development. Let me just quickly take a look. All right, we're going to talk about images. Okay, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with these three qualities of an essay. Okay, when you discuss the essay writing, we discuss the quality of the essay. You are all familiar with this term, right? Unity, coherence, and adequate development. The new idea would be this one, including sensory images. Am I correct? I think I'm correct. This might be a new information which is relevant to descriptive essays or any description in general. So let's take a look. Yeah, let me talk about the images first. Now, we human beings, we experience the world around us using five senses. We have five senses, all right? And these are the five senses. We can taste, we can touch, we can see, we can hear, and we can smell. These are the sensory images. And if you can use sensory images in your description, then your description, the thing that you're describing, will be very, very interesting. Now, how do you do that? We have an example to show you, and which we'll show you in a moment. Okay. For example, if you are describing a food, then taste will be relevant. Sight will also be relevant. What color of the food is, that will be relevant. Smell will be relevant, definitely. Without smell, food is not tasty at all. Touch means feeling something. So when you eat something, of course, you will feel it, right? In your mouth and also in your hand as well, okay, in your fingers. So feeling is also going to be important. Sound is also relevant. If you're eating something crispy, the crunchy sound, that will be relevant. However, if you are describing your uncle, for example, all right, describing your uncle, taste is not relevant, touch is not relevant, sight will be relevant, sound will be relevant, his voice, if you're talking about his voice, then that will be relevant. Smell, again, probably not relevant. You can talk about what kind of perfume he uses, then that's fine. That is, I would say, clever way of introducing this image. But usually when it comes to description of a person, sight and sound probably the most relevant ones. All right, so this is how, depending on what you're describing, you'll also decide what kind of sensory images are relevant, and you can use them. Okay, right. Let's talk about this slide first. Okay. Right, we'll come back to it. So whenever you're describing something, again, what do I mean by something? That means you have to identify, or you have to at least know, what are the things that can possibly be described. Usually in English 103, you will be asked to describe either a person or an animal or an object or a place. And sometimes it could be description of a situation or an emotional state. But this is a bit rare, I would say. The four most important descriptive categories are either description of a person, animal, object, or place. And sometimes, in rare cases, an emotional state or a situation. So these are the 5 things that are most relevant when it comes to descriptive essays in English 103. Okay, let's take a look at some of the techniques. In fact, by some I mean only 3. 3 very, very effective ways or techniques of improving your writing, at least when it comes to descriptive essay. All right, so let's take a look at these 3 qualities. The first would be the use of sensory images. All right, the use of sensory images, and we have already discussed how to use these sensory images and what kind of sensory image is relevant to what kind of description. The next would be the use of descriptive details. Okay, right. So again, depending on the kind of description that you have to go for, meaning whether you're describing a person, animal, object, place, or a situation, depending on the category of description, you have to choose the kind of descriptive details. Okay, let me give an example. If you're describing a person, again, you have 3 body paragraphs to write, so probably you will only talk about 3 most important aspects regarding a person. So what are the 3 important things of a person that can be described? You can talk about a person's appearance, outlook, okay, personality, his internal qualities, okay. You can also talk about careers, maybe behavior. So these are some of the important aspects of a person based on which you might create the description. So find out relevant words. Okay, so I have used the description of a person as an example here. For example, physical state, emotional state, behavior, personality, attitudes, and you will need to know a lot of adjectives so that you can describe these things properly. If you're describing an object, by the way, then again the physical state of an object is relevant, which comes, meaning you have to talk about the shape, size, color. All right. Emotional, behavior, personality, attitude, the remaining 4 are not at all relevant to the description of an object. So maybe something else would be relevant. All right. So one of the ways we can improve your writing when it comes to description is identify relevant words. Okay. What are the words that are relevant to the description of an object? Okay, think of it and learn those words and expressions. If you're describing a place, how do you describe a place? All right, what are the aspects of a place that are relevant or that are most relevant when it comes to describing that place properly? Okay, so how beautiful a place is, how accessible it is, how enjoyable it is to visit, if it is a tourist spot. All right, so there could be so many other relevant aspects of a place that you can describe. So learn words, related words, which will help you to talk about those aspects and remember those words and expressions. Okay, this is the easiest way of improving your vocabulary, at least when it comes to descriptive essay writing. All right, so again, let me just quickly summarize the 3 techniques of improving your descriptive essay writing. Using sensory images, these are the sensory images. Using descriptive details, again, depending on the kind of description, you will have to choose what kind of detail you are going to discuss. And finally, replacing common expression with creative expression. So how do we do that? Let's take an example. This is a short paragraph taken from English 102 course reader. I'm using paragraphs as an example to illustrate the point, but again, essays are the same, pretty much, at least when it comes to the writing technique. The only difference is a paragraph is just a paragraph, an essay is a combination of 5 paragraphs. All right, so let's see how these 3 qualities have been incorporated here. Okay, let's read the first sentence. So the writer is writing or has written a descriptive paragraph about her father-in-law. Okay, so description of a person. Let's read the first sentence. My father-in-law was not a tall man. Okay, and the rest is hidden. Okay, let's say the sentence ends here. As an opening sentence, it works fine. Okay, I don't see anything wrong. But again, remember, our techniques of improving writing is that you have to be able to use descriptive details. Meaning, instead of simply finishing the sentence here, saying my father-in-law is not a tall man at all, was not a tall man, maybe you can add a little more detail. Okay, not a tall man compared with average American men. Now, with the help of this little detail, descriptive detail, the description becomes more clear. All right, so it is a sign of improvement. All right, and if you read the rest of the paragraph in your free time, you will see that these yellow sections, all of them introduce additional information, meaning they add descriptive detail to the already existing information, which makes the write-up even more, I would say, even more precise and adds more detail and nuance to it. Write them. So, for example, let's do this one. His waist looked like a stuffed cushion. He loved to drink. You could simply put a full stop here, end of the story. But again, whenever you see an opportunity, try to add more detail. And if you do that, it reads like this. Okay, he loved to drink, which may have contributed to his waistline. All right, so an important piece of information, and it's adding more detail. Great. The first quality or first technique was to use sensory images. Let's see an example of the use of sensory image here. Okay, let's read this sentence. His hair was white and gray. Okay, his hair was white and gray. Now again, whenever you see a noun, you see an opportunity to use modifier to add more information. His wavy hair was shiny white. Okay, now wavy and shiny, these are associated with sight. You can see shiny hair, you can see wavy hair. All right, If you could add one more word here, for example, his soft, the word soft is not here, I'm just adding it, all right? His soft, wavy hair was shiny white, like silver. Okay, like silver is not here, I'm just adding it to show how you can add in more information, descriptive detail, and sensory image to make your writing better. So you could also improve on it. You could say maybe his soft, wavy hair was shiny white like silver or pearl. Okay, use any metaphor that you say that you deem to be fit. See, this is how by using descriptive detail and sensory image you can improve your writing. If you could say his soft hair or soft wavy hair, the word soft triggers the image of touch. Okay, how do you know something is soft? By touching it, right? So yeah, if we could say that his soft wavy hair was shiny white, then wavy and shiny, they trigger the image of sight or the sense of sight, where the word soft triggers the image of feeling, touching something. All right, good. So we're done with illustrating how you can use descriptive detail and sensory image to improve your description. Let's talk about the third technique, which is how to replace common expression with creative one and the effects of that. Okay, let's focus on these red rectangular sections. Okay, red marked area. His waist looked like a stuffed cushion. Okay. Uh, what is this basic meaning here? The meaning is that father-in-law of the writer was an obese person, all right, probably an overweight guy, or to use an even more mundane word, if you really want to be, I don't know, very very cut and right, you could say he was a fat guy. Okay, all right, you could simply say he was a fat guy, although the word fat might come off as a bit offensive, but yeah. So he was a fat person. Okay, he was an overweight guy, obese guy. That is the basic information. That is the common expression. But instead of simply saying, oh, my father-in-law was fat, okay, which sounds very, very simple and a bit offensive, you could go for a creative expression like his waist looked like a stuffed cushion. Let's do this one. His eyes showed his high level of intelligence. So what she means is basically her father-in-law was an intelligent person. If you read the sentence before, it says, he told me that he had read most of the books in his neighborhood library. Therefore, he was an extremely intelligent person. Okay? So instead of writing this sentence, most of the people will go for, therefore, he was a very intelligent person. Okay? He told me he had read all the books or most of the books in the neighborhood library, and that is why he was very intelligent. Okay, so and that is why he was very intelligent. This is what most of the students will write. But instead of using this very common expression, you can go for a little bit you can go for creativity and do it like this. His eyes showed his high level of intelligence. So the basic concept here, the common expression here is he is an intelligent person. You're just saying it in a different way to stand out from the crowd. And again, when I say use a creative expression, I don't mean that you have to go Shakespeare, all right? You don't have to write like Shakespeare. If you read the whole paragraph, you will see all the words are known to you. All the sentences are very short and very easy to read. Okay? Everything has been done in a simple manner. Yet, just by following these three simple steps, even though the paragraph is very simple with simple and easy to read sentences and common words and expressions, it is still a very interesting paragraph, and it feels good to read a paragraph like that. All right, because it has these qualities. Okay, so you don't have to do anything extraordinary. Just keep things simple, and that will do the trick. Okay, so that is the idea. Did you understand so far whatever I've said?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, got it. Let's do something else. Okay, my grandmother's picture. This is another very interesting paragraph. I have marked the sections. When I upload the slide, you can read them. So this would be an example of the description of an object. Okay, my grandmother's picture is an object, so description of an object. Clayton, a person, description of an individual. Again, another example. Piano teacher, description of a person. Again, a very interesting example. All the areas are marked. You can read them. All right, let's do an example of a place. All right, how to describe a place. So the paragraph is Moria Lagoon. Now, what is a lagoon? If you Google the word lagoon, it will show you the meaning. Basically, a lagoon looks mostly like this. It's a small body of water, usually on an island. All right, so a small body of water on an island or close to an island. But there could be other meanings. So lagoon is a body of water, basically, like a small lake. Okay, so this is the paragraph where the Moria Lagoon is described. Okay, so let's analyze this text, this descriptive paragraph, and try to identify the techniques that the writer has used. Okay, I'm revealing all these sections. Okay, we'll do the red ones later. Okay. The Moria Lagoon is filled with visions from wild imagination. Again, after experiencing the beauty of the white surf breaking as it meets the coral reef, my breath is taken away by the water of the lagoon. Okay, a very interesting and nice opening of the paragraph. All right, first two sentences. So again, what are the places where you can add more detail? Here, experiencing the beauty. What kind of beauty? Well, looks like there is an opportunity to add more detail. Again, breath is taken away by the water of the lagoon. What kind of water? Looks like we have another opportunity to add some detail here. And this is exactly what the writer does. By the spectacular beauty of the white surf in the reef, my breath is taken away by the water. What kind of water? Crystal clear, multicolored water of the lagoon. You see, adding more detail. The mountains. What kind of mountains? Looks like we have an opportunity to add information, add descriptive detail. The mountains look down upon the everything beneath the sky and they reach for the sky. So again, what kind of mountain? Exotic. How exotic, or what kind of exotic? The mysteriously exotic. All right, not just exotic, but mysteriously exotic. All right, so a great example of how to add more descriptive detail. Again, if you read the rest of the paragraph, you will understand how it works. And again, I didn't really mark all the details here. Okay, the yellow sections are not the only examples. There could be many other. Okay, I only marked the most prominent ones. All right. Okay, great. So using sensory image, again, that is also very important. And you can use sensory image when you add descriptive detail as well. Again, crystal clear. You can see if the water is crystal clear. multicolored. You can see if the water is multicolored, right? So not only are you adding more descriptive detail to what kind of water you're talking about, by doing so you're also using sensory image. Okay, multicolored, crystal clear, and okay, again, white beach. All right, and it can continue like that. Okay, the last tip was to again replacing common expression with artistic expression or creativity. Let's do the first sentence, the very first sentence of the paragraph. Moria Lagoon is filled with visions from wild imagination. What is the basic meaning here? It basically means that Moria Lagoon is a lovely place. It is a wonderful place to visit. In fact, this is what most of the students will write as their opening sentence. Okay, Moria Lagoon is one of the best places to visit. Okay, or even more simple, even simpler sentences. Moria Lagoon is a great place. It's a beautiful place, wonderful place. All right, most of the writers will go for this kind of simple expressions or common expression. But with a bit of creativity, you can say the same thing, but the effect will be vastly different. Instead of simply saying Moria Lagoon is a beautiful place, you could say Lagoon is filled with visions from wild imagination. What you mean is that it is a extraordinarily beautiful place. But instead of just saying that same expression or writing that same expression, you go for a bit more creativity. Okay? So if you read the rest of it, you will understand how it works. Okay, I try to mark some of the important sections where common expressions are replaced with a bit more creativity. All right, is it somewhat clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so again, I mean, these three techniques are not the only three techniques. There, I mean, if you just Google right now how to improve description, how to be a good descriptive essay writer or something, you will get a lot of advice. Okay, but those actually boil down to these three main techniques that should drastically improve your writing skill. But then again, the question is, how do you improve on this skill? For example, replacing common expression with creative ones. Okay, so instead of saying Moria Lagoon is a beautiful place, how do you learn to write a creative expression like this, filled with visions from wild imagination? How do you train yourself so that your brain can think of this kind of creative expression without wasting much time? How do you get to this level? The simple and only answer to this question is by reading more. The more you read advanced writing or samples of advanced writing and advanced essays, the more information that you feed your brain and which your brain can recall when you start to write yourself. All right, so the more input you expose your brain to, the better output it gives you in return. That is the only way of improving, I think. All right, so far. So yeah, you have to keep reading if you want to really improve your writing. Otherwise, it's gonna be very, very difficult. Okay, is it somewhat clear to you, everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so this is how you
Yes,
can
sir.
improve the content. All right, and we already know the structure. Is there any problem with this structure? Anyone has any confusion with the structure of essay? All essays have the same structure: introduction, 3 body paragraphs, conclusion. And the last sentence of introduction is thesis statement, where you mention the 3 things, 3 main ideas. If it is a descriptive essay, the 3 main idea would be the 3 aspects of what you're describing. If it is a process essay, somebody has their microphone turned on. Yeah, thank you. If it is a process essay, the three main idea would be the 3 steps of completing a job. All right. If it is a compare essay, 3 main ideas would be 3 similarities. And I'm pretty sure you already know the structure and how it works. Okay, so you already had the idea about the structure. Now today we have idea about the content of descriptive essays. So hopefully it will help you. Now we're going to take a short break and I'm going to take your attendance. We have pretty much half of the class left to complete the second part of our today's lecture, which is our discussion on process essay, which we're going to start soon after I take your attendance. So give me 2 minutes. Okay, everyone, I have just assigned you today's attendance form. So go to classwork section, find today's attendance and complete your attendance. After a minute, we are going to start the second part of our lecture, which is on process essay. All right.
Sir,
So yeah, go ahead. Any question?
yes, sir. In essay, we have introduction, tree body, and this right last one is the conclusion part. And in
Right.
for a paragraph, the first sentence is introduction or thesis statement, and then all the rest of the sentences supporting sentence.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about paragraphs. All right. In English 103, we only have essay. I'm using paragraphs as to show you how to describe things. All right. So it is easier to illustrate the points. You see all the marks and everything here. It is easier to use paragraph as an example to show the techniques of description. All right. That's why I am showing you paragraphs. Okay. But in English 103, you have only essay. Don't worry about paragraph. But did I get your question right, by the way? I mean, was the question a different one?
স্যার আমার প্রশ্নটা ছিল কি স্যার প্রথম স্টেটমেন্টটাতে আমি একটা ক্লেম করলাম যে ওয়াইল্ড ইমাজিনেশন তো বাকি সেন্টেন্স গুলো তো এটাকে সাপোর্ট করার জন্যই
Right. Exactly. Okay, everyone, in a minute, we are going to start our second part of lecture. So in the meantime, all of you should give your attendance. All right, there you go. Let's talk about process essay. I cannot go full screen for some reason. I cannot go full screen, but I hope the font is big enough for you to see. Okay, so that will do. For some reason, I cannot go full screen. The screen doesn't show. Even if I go full screen, it does not appear like that on the screen. So I'm just using this slide here, but I hope the font is big enough for you guys to be able to see and read. Okay, so let's do process essay. We are going to make this section a bit interactive one. Okay, we're going to do a sample essay outline. But before that, let's talk about what is a process essay and how to write it. Good. So a process essay is a kind of essay where your goal or your aim is to discuss how to do something. All right, how to do something. Now, a process essay can be of two types. Either it could be either informational or directional. For English 103, the directional process essay is the relevant one. Okay, so maybe I should change the color here. This is the relevant one, and informational is not relevant. Okay, but we are going to take a look at both and try to understand the difference. But remember, for you guys, directional process essay is the only type which is relevant. Okay, so informational process essay. What do you do in an informational process essay? You give information of something. For example, how the solar system works. Okay, how the volcanoes are formed. Okay, these are examples of informative speech. Okay, because you give information about it. On the other hand, directional process essay is a little bit different. Here, your purpose is to instruct or give instruction to the reader to do something or to complete a task. For example, how to make a cup of tea, how to open a bank account, okay, how to cook a particular dish. So these are some of the examples of process essay. How to prepare for online exams, how to deal with depression. These are also examples of process essay. All right. Whenever there is this expression how to do something, this kind of essays all fall under the category of directional process essay. So the main difference is with informational process essay, you discuss how something works, but you probably cannot replicate it. You can describe, or I shouldn't use the word describe, I should use the word discuss, because description is only for descriptive essay. So with informational process essay, you can discuss how the solar system works, but can you create a whole solar system on your own? No, you can only analyze it and discuss how it works. Okay, how volcanoes are formed. Can you create an artificial volcano? Probably not quite at this moment, I'm pretty sure. Okay, a scientist haven't, probably figured it out how to create an artificial volcano like a real one. Okay, so yeah, probably that's not possible as yet. But you can analyze how volcanoes worked, how they are formed, and you can discuss them in a process essay. That kind of process essay will be informational because you're only delivering information. You're not giving instruction to replicate a solar system or a volcano. Okay, that's not even possible. But with directional process essay, the topics themselves are relevant or pretty much closely related to your own personal experience. You can make a cup of tea and write a process essay on how to make a cup of tea. You can open a bank account yourself and write an essay discussing the process of step-by-step process of how to open a bank account. This is possible to do. All right. So this is the main difference between directional and informational processes or informative process essay. And this is exactly the reason why for you guys in English 103, informational process essay is not relevant. Because if I ask you to write an essay on how gravity works, if you're not a science student, you won't be even able to write a word. Okay, how the solar system works. If you don't have any background knowledge, you probably won't be able to write a complete essay on that. Okay, we all have some working knowledge, some basic knowledge about how the solar system works, but probably we won't be able to write an essay like an expert would. But if the essay is about um, how to make new friends, okay, how to make new friends, I think pretty much all of us can write an essay on that, because we all have friends and we all have made friends, okay, and we became new friends to somebody else as well. So this is something which is closely related to our own personal experience. You won't find a university student who has no friend, okay, that's quite impossible. Okay, so yeah, with directional process essay, the kind of topics that you get are all closely related to your own personal experience. But again, different people have different versions of the same experience, so definitely they will write differently on a same topic. Okay, and that is absolutely fine. So these are the key differences. Again, the steps of writing a process essay, the same thing: generate ideas, get a focus, exactly the way we are going to do in a moment. We are going to do a short essay, so we will follow these steps. Okay, again, some general advice, you can go through them in your own time. How to develop the introduction, again, pretty much the same idea, you all know it. How to develop the body paragraphs of a process essay, same general information, just the summary is given there for your convenience. Again, here is a sample example here. Steps for cleaning a hot tub. Okay, these are the 5 steps, and each of the main step can have a secondary step like this, or secondary steps like this. For example, the third step has 4 secondary steps. So this is basically all you do in a process essay. You discuss steps of accomplishing a task. But in your case, there wouldn't be 5 steps, there will be only 3, because you have 3 body paragraphs to write. So you can talk about the 3 major steps. Now, each of the major step might have secondary steps in them, like this one. The third major step has 4 secondary steps. That is fine. But each body paragraph will talk about one main step only. All right, here we have an example of an informational process paragraph. Okay, so here you go. The paragraph is about the process that children go through, or the stages of their cognitive development, okay, their mental development. Okay, so looks like there are 4 steps. All right, first, next, third, and finally, and all 4 stages are labeled here. Okay, now again, you cannot create these steps, they are already there in nature. Scientists have done their research and identified that pretty much any healthy human baby goes through these 4 stages of mental or cognitive or simply brain development. Okay, so you can analyze it and write a paragraph or an essay or even a book about these stages of development. So no matter whether you're writing a paragraph or an essay or even a book, that will be informational. Okay, so that is the difference between informational and directional process essay. All right, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
So let's end this class with an interactive session, and we're going to follow this same pattern. So we're going to do just an outline of a process essay. So first of all, I need a topic, and then we will brainstorm. I will take your opinion. We will identify as many steps of accomplishing that task as possible, and then we will narrow it down to 3. So first of all, I need a topic. It should start with how to. Okay, how to do something. Now, how to do what? Think of a good topic.
So how to end up an issue with a good grade.
Okay, how to get good grades at NSU. That's an interesting topic. Okay, any other suggestion like that? That topic can be, something interesting and funny. It doesn't have to be really formal or serious. We are only doing it for the purpose of showing you an example. That's it. So think of interesting topic. It could be even funny as well.
How to propose somebody.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's a funny one as well. Any other suggestion? Any other suggestion? Anyone? Okay. Okay, last one is interesting. How many of you want the last one, and how many of you want the first one? How to get good grades at NSU, or maybe how to propose somebody? Which one is better? Which one should you work on?
How to get good grades.
Okay, how to get good grades. Okay, let's take a vote maybe. Which topic? Ashraf, your microphone is on. You want to say something? Otherwise, you can mute it. All right.
স্যার গুড গ্রেডসটাই নিলে ভালো হয় স্যার, কারণ যদি ওইটা নিই তাহলে মেয়েরা আবার জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারে যে হাউ টু প্রপোজ আ বয়, স্যার কন্ট্রোভার্সিয়াল হয়ে যায় স্যার বিষয়টা।
Okay, everyone wants to steer clear of controversy, right? Wants to play it safe. Even in online.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So let's play it safe. Maybe how to play it safe could be a good topic. All right. Yeah. Okay, but no worries. How to get? Oops, my bad. All right. Not a controversial topic at all. Very, very. Okay, it could be useful as well. So let's see. What are the ideas that you can come up with? I can already see what you're gonna say, but yeah, do it anyways. So yes, but think in terms of NSU. Don't just give me the, of I don't know, the cliched ideas like study hard. Of course, you gotta study hard and everything. Okay, don't just do those. Think in terms of North-South University and the challenges that you face, which are unique to NSU experience, and therefore how to overcome them. All right. We all know the basic idea of doing well as a student. Study hard. Okay. I don't know, study 24 hours a day. Some people try to, yeah, you know what I mean. Some people, if they can, they will really suggest that study maybe 20 hours a day. That's not possible, by the way, at least not for me. So think of NSU experience and think of the unique challenges that you face as a student at NSU, which might be different from any other university, and then talk about the solutions. So yeah, go ahead, give me ideas.
Sir, unpredictable faculty. It's a challenge, sir.
Okay, is this what you mean? Mostly, I think faculty and unpredictable. Okay, let's use the term unpredictable as well. Unpredictable nature of teacher. Okay.
Yes, sir. It sounds great.
Yeah. What else?
So time management of a student.
Yeah. All right. I need the whole class to participate, or as many people as possible. So others, you guys are silent. I'm not sure. Probably you're sleeping. So if at least one of you are awake, you can maybe say something. Yeah, the only person who is not allowed to sleep is me. But then again, I'm getting paid for it. So yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, go ahead. Give me ideas. I think you're all gonna fail. I mean, if you don't know how to get a good grade at NSU, you're so failing this course. Yeah, don't blame me. If all of you fail, I will show the video of today's lecture and I'll say, well, they didn't know how to get good grades, so they failed.
স্যার ক্লাসে পার্টিসিপেশনটা মেইনটেইন করা
Okay. Right. What else?
Sir,
টিচারের সাথে কোঅপারেটিভ থাকা স্যার
ক্লাসে অ্যাটেন্টিভ থাকা।
So it's also part in class
Interactive.
participation.
Yeah, exactly. Talking to the faculty and everything, communicating him, that can be, part of class participation.
Sir, one more important thing is like the language we use to teach, like English, which is not our mother tongue. It's maybe the problem, maybe, sir. Some challenges.
Okay, right. Or maybe, I should say medium of instruction. That sounds better.
Yes, sir. Media form instruction.
Jesus.
Communicating with seniors and classmates.
Oops. Communication. I mean communicating with teachers outside the class time and also your classmates. And so all kind of communication can be discussed under this section. Right. Good. We have 5 points. Anything else?
Group study activity.
Okay, Trina, what you said?
Sir, activity.
What kind of activity?
Sir, like listening activity or something.
Okay. Maybe you can express it in a bit more precise way. Okay, we'll come back to you. So others have any idea?
So consistency of study or keep motivating for a long time.
That is I would say common, isn't it? Common for any university. You have to be consistently performing well, and you have to keep your motivation levels up. Think of something unique to NSU.
Okay, sir.
Sir, maintaining regularity in studies.
I mean, does it matter more at NSU than any other university? You could argue because you have lots of quizzes and assignments and everything. So even if you get 0 out of 5 on a 5-mark quiz, you pretty much, you can lose your A there.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So yeah. Okay, visiting the library often. I think that's a common suggestion. What is the other one?
Grading policy.
Right. If you could talk instead of writing, understand what the faculty wants from a student. Understand what the faculty wants. Yeah, could be. Although I think it is common to pretty much any other university, but yeah.
So grading policy, sir, which is 93% to get A.
Understanding the grading policy, or maybe planning your study according to the grading policy. Okay, whatever it is. So grading policy is the key idea here. Okay. So remember, as I mentioned, once you feel like you're almost done with your brainstorming, you have identified enough idea and you are ready to start writing. Before you do that, you should take a pause and ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, am I missing anything, or did I miss anything important? And number 2, did I miss anything interesting? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you have 9 points. That's enough. Now, before you start writing, again, Ask yourself, did I miss anything interesting here or important here? Maybe one point, one last point.
So good relation with teachers.
This will fall under proper communication. Okay, somebody's writing something. If your microphone is working, you can maybe talk. Okay, let me read some. Okay, we should focus on the quizzes. Yeah, yeah, that can be sure. There are many courses where there are many quizzes and they can make a huge difference.
So good presentation is skill, lack of.
Good, yeah, that's a good point. Pretty much each and every course has presentations. Okay, some courses have more than one presentations. So yeah, having good presentation skill is very important. All right, I think we are good to go. We have 11 points. All right, so not only do we have the three main ideas that are going to be
Sir,
the body paragraphs, we also have the secondary points as well. So yeah, go ahead. Is it Abdul Rahman?
sir, can't we write quiz, presentation skill, and extra train on one point? Because these things are like
That's exactly what we were going to do now. That's what we're exactly going to do now. As I said, now our task is to identify the three uniquely important points which can probably incorporate other points in them. Those 3 points are going to be the main content of the 3 body paragraphs. So which 3 points are different from each other, very different from each other, and probably the standout points? What are these 3? What do you think? We have 11.
sir, time management, choosing faculties, and presentation quiz, etc.
Okay, anybody has any other suggestion? Okay, let's go with
Medium of instruction may be the important one, sir. Just it.
I understand. Yes. There are many universities where Bangla is the medium of instruction. Well, no, I think medium of lecture is Bangla. I think they at university level, all of the pretty much all of them use English books.
Yes,
But yes, medium of lecture is Bangla in most of the universities, even in private universities, okay, let alone the public ones. So yes, I understand where you're coming from, and probably many students, particularly freshers, might find it a bit challenging. Yeah, so let's go with that. Medium of instruction. Basically what I mean is medium of lecture, but instruction is as well, because as I said, freshers, if you're from a Bengali medium, probably you don't have enough exposure to English books, so it will take probably a semester or two to adjust to this new change. Yeah, and if you keep getting C's and D's in the first 2 semesters, then a lot of retakes are waiting for you. So go ahead with the medium of instruction. This is our main point, one of the 3 main points. Okay, what are the other 2? I think one of your friends said time management, choosing faculty, right? Let's go with choosing faculty, because I am an ex-NSUer, so I know this is very important, and
Yes.
I can tell it from personal experience. So and this is pretty unique to NSU.
Exactly.
I think pretty unique. Even in other private universities, you won't. Yeah, I mean, they kind of face the same situation, but not quite as intense as it gets at NSU. So yeah, we need one more point, and we need to choose it carefully. Okay, which one should it be? Do we go for time management or something else?
Grading policy.
So maybe proper communication.
Okay.
So grading policy maybe স্যার আমরা এনে কুইজ প্রেজেন্টেশন তারপরে গ্রুপ স্টাডি সবগুলো স্যার গ্রেডিং পলিসিতে দিতে পারবো স্যার।
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So let's go with grading policy. Again, guys, you can change the names. Okay, if you feel like no, you want to use different words to express this similar idea, you can definitely do it. Okay, so we have got our 3 main points. They will be mentioned in the thesis statement, and they will be the I would say main content of the 3 body paragraphs. Now, which one is body paragraph 1, 2, 3? You can rearrange it according to your own. You see, this can be 1, or even this can be the first body paragraph. It is up to you. Okay, the order should be decided by you. All right. Now, let's try to, I would say, incorporate the remaining points into the major points where they fit. So, as I said, under grading policy, you could talk about quizzes and presentations because they are parts of your assessment, right? Quizzes carry particular, a section of your grade. Presentations also have points, usually 5 or 10. So, good. What else? What else? Time management. Where should you fit time management? Because you need to talk about time management. Should we talk it in the grading policy section or faculty section, medium of
Faculty
instruction?
section, sir.
So grading এ দিলে ভালো হয় স্যার, কারণ আমাদের টাইম ম্যানেজমেন্ট টাইম ম্যানেজমেন্টের উপর একটা মার্কস আছে আমাদের স্যার।
Yeah, time management is important. Okay, because it looks like everything that is related to studying is going to be probably discussed in this section.
Yes.
Okay, so what points can we fit under choosing faculty? So of course, I can already see that this is going to be there. This is probably the most relevant secondary point under the class participation will also go. Exactly. Proper communication will also go there. Great. So medium of instruction. And we have 2 more points remaining. Group study and maintaining regularity. So they don't seem to fit in here, or do they? Okay, here's the tricky part. Okay, let me explain. Yes, you can talk about group study here under this section. You can also talk about group study under this faculty section, depending on how you write it. But since we have these 2 points remaining from after your brainstorm is over, so if you talk about these 2 points here and here, then you would have to think of these secondary points once again that you want to write under these sections, because remember, each paragraph should be roughly of 100 words. Okay, and you already have 3 secondary points to discuss here and here as well. So let's say you are going to write about 30 words here, 30 words and 30 words. That is 90 words, 100 words. And you don't even have to think of anything else. You can simply start writing just by keeping these 3 points in mind, and you will automatically develop this point. Similarly, just write around 30 words each for each of these secondary points, and you will have automatically developed this point, this major point. Okay, but if you distribute these remaining points in these 2 sections, then what are you going to be writing the 100 words on when you're going to discuss the medium of instruction? Sure, there might be some new points, like what kind of challenge, how challenging is it to adapt to the new situation. So this is a new point. This is a new point that, of course, you're going to be talking about. And then let's talk about group study and maintaining regularity here in this section. Organize the content in a way that goes with that main theme of medium of instruction. Okay, so you could say that those of you who are struggling to adjust to this new medium of instruction, you find it very challenging, for such and such reasons. And by studying in a group with your like-minded friends, by helping each other, you can overcome the problem. Okay, you can maybe practice speaking with your friends. You can also practice your presentation skills here with your friends. Okay, again, if we talked about group study under this section, let's say we already have enough material to cover this section, then we could talk about group study here, and you would say things like, well, we can study by studying with our friends. We can I don't know, um, we can hone our presentation skill. Okay, we can give presentation in front of our friends. That helps us get ourselves out from our shells. Okay, we can overcome our shyness and all. But since you have to talk about this point here, you can tailor the discussion to the main idea of this paragraph, which is medium of instruction. So you will say things like, and practice speaking, and friends can motivate each other, you can exchange knowledge. Okay, so the same point, depending on where it is put, can be written in different ways. Okay, so again, this is just a very, very basic idea. All right, so the structure is complete. You already know the content of your essay. So after the brainstorming is over, I would say most of the job is done. At least when you start writing, you don't have to think. You don't have to pause and think for a new point each time you are done with one point.
স্যার ইন্ট্রোতে স্যার কিভাবে জিনিসটা আরো অ্যাট্রাক্ট মানে দেখতে সুন্দর করা যায় ইন্ট্রোটাতে? এটা তো বুঝলাম বডি তিনটাতে এভাবে করবো, ইন্ট্রোটা কিভাবে দিচ্ছ?
Okay, how to intro? I think we discussed in the probably we skipped the slide, but it is there. When I upload the slide, you will get it. So first of all, you have to introduce the topic. Okay, so how to get good grades at NSU. In the introduction, introduce the topic that this is the essay is about, and then you can discuss how the topic is relevant to the reader. Okay, or why the readers should listen to you, the importance of the topic. So in the introduction, you can briefly, maybe in a sentence or two, because you have only 100 words in the introduction to write. Pretty much every paragraph will have roughly 100 words. So the introduction should first of all introduce the topic, and then mostly in a creative manner, you should discuss why the topic is important and why you're addressing your audience and why they should pay attention. Okay, and if you need to give any background information about the topic, if you feel that is necessary, you can do that in the introduction section as well. Okay, so depending on the topic, it varies, but usually the main purpose of the introduction is to introduce the topic first of all. Secondly, discuss briefly why the topic is important and relevant to the audience and why they should care about it. And finally, the last sentence mentions the three main ideas. All right, so this is what you should do in your introduction. For example, the thesis statement, thesis statement should look like, again, I'm just giving a very, very brief idea. Jesus. NSU should meaning choosing faculty carefully. All right, you see, I'm just saying the same thing in a different way. Then okay, okay, the second point is medium of instruction. So how do we say it? How do what's the better way of expressing it? Again, instead of understanding the medium of instruction. Instead of using the word understand, you can go for even a better expression. Okay, I'm just showing the structure of thesis statement here. Put a comma and don't forget to use the word and before you introduce the last item. And maybe I have already used the word understand, so maybe this time we'll use a different word. So what could be a good synonym? Okay, not helping. And okay, a very simple thesis statement. It doesn't necessarily have to look like this. You can, of course, use different expressions, but this is how a thesis statement is written. Okay, you introduce the three main ideas and then arrange the body paragraphs following this exact sequence. The first body paragraph will talk about the importance of instructor. The second body paragraph will talk about the medium of instruction, and the last body paragraph is about grading policy. And then you continue with the rest of your paragraph. Rest of the essay.
Yes sir, but last question sir, conclusion এ গিয়ে স্যার কি কোনো রিকমেন্ডেশন বা কিভাবে আরো সুন্দর করা যায় স্যার আপনার থেকে?
Right. Conclusion, the easiest way of writing the conclusion is to simply give a summary of your discussion. So when you have written the three body paragraphs, you will have already had discussed the main ideas, right? So in the conclusion, maybe you can highlight the key part of your discussion. Okay, highlight the most significant parts of your discussion, the gist of your discussion. Okay, in one verse, the conclusion should restate the gist of your discussion. That is the easiest way of doing it, and that is perfectly fine. If you want to be a bit more creative, then maybe you can go for a suggestion or recommendation. If the essay deals with any policy issues or any problem solution issues or things like that. Okay, with a topic like this, I think recommendation or suggestion is not going to be relevant in the conclusion, because this is what the essay is all about. So if the topic is like this, simply a summary of the discussion will do. But if the essay is about maybe the effects of air pollution in Dhaka city, okay, although you're not supposed to discuss the solutions, and you should not discuss the solutions to the problem anywhere in the essay, because the topic is effects of air pollution in Dhaka city. Okay, maybe the health effects, health hazards of air pollution in Dhaka city. So the three body paragraphs should talk about the three most devastating health issues that people might face because of air pollution. However, in the conclusion, in a sentence or two, you can give a little suggestion, make some recommendations, which the government might follow to reduce the problem. Okay, so again, depending on the topic, you will decide whether it's a good idea or not. But summary, giving the summary of your discussion, that can be done in any process essay or any essay at all. Okay, is it clear somewhat?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, when is this class supposed to end? Isn't it 5:50? Oh yeah, we're exactly.
স্যার কাইন্ডলি ওয়ার্ড লিমিটটা একটু আবার বললে ভালো হতো।
Word limit, roughly 500 words. Okay, 450
words.
to 500 words, which means for each paragraph you will get about 100 words.
Thank you, sir.
But again, I mean, it's not strict. Some paragraph could be, could have maybe 80 words. Some might have 120 words. But it should not be, I mean, the discrepancy should not be too much. Like a paragraph should not have only 50 words and another should not have, 150 words. Okay, it should not be like
Sir,
that.
এসের আমরা ডেসক্রিপটিভ এসে যেটা এটার ওয়ার্ড লিমিটটা 500 ওয়ার্ডস এর মতো
Same, all the essays, all the 7 types of essays in English 103, have pretty much the same structure and same word limit.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, good. So any last question? Okay, looks like
স্যার
no.
একটা জিনিস স্যার, আমাদের কি কোনো স্যার হোমওয়ার্ক দেওয়া যায় স্যার টু রাইট এন এসে প্র্যাকটিস হওয়ার জন্য, যেমন আজকে
Exactly. In fact, you don't even need a homework. I have dedicated an entire class for that purpose. If you just take a look at the course outline, go to the last page, the schedule. I think class number what? I forgot. 9 or 8 something. We have an entire class where you are going to write an essay, not in home, but during class time. So that you will know the time management as well. And then I will go through your essay and identify the problems that you guys have, all the problems, and then create a common template which should address the major problems of your essays, and I will upload that template as well. So you will get your feedback and you will also get your chance to practice.
স্যার ওইটার উপরে কি স্যার 10 মার্কস হবে?
No. Okay, that class says I think in essay writing practice or something, there is no marks. The graded sections are also labeled in the course outline. If you just go there, you will find all the information. Okay, and class number as well. Okay, just read the course outline. Go to the last page and you will see the detailed route in there, or detailed classes schedule. All right, then any other question? No more question? Great. So take care, everyone. I'll see you next class. And those of you who forgot to give your attendance, if there is any, do it right now within a minute, because I will update the attendance now. Okay, and I'll see you next class.
স্যার আসসালামু আলাইকুম, ভালো থাকবেন স্যার।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার।
রেকর্ডিংটা স্যার অফ
ওয়ালাইকুম স্যার।
জি। আর হ্যালো, ঠিক মেসেঞ্জার গ্রুপে কি কেউ অ্যাড আছো এখানে? হ্যালো হ্যালো